This is J. Krishnamurti's first discussion with students in Amsterdam, 1968.
What shall we talk about?
Life.
Reality.
Vipin?
Reality.
Education, please. Education, please.
While we are sitting here, I will talk about
Life, what we are seeking about, education, and what else?
Self-analysis.
Vipin?
Self-analysis.
Self-knowledge.
Freedom. Way to mutation.
Vip-
The way to mutation.
Way to mutation. What shall we talk about then? Should we discuss or talk over together self-knowledge? Would that be of interest? And the other things will be included in that. What is living? Why do we seek? Can we go through that? Would that be of interest?
Yes.
So if I may ask, what is it to know? When we say I know, what does that mean? What does knowledge mean? And what does self mean? There are those two words, self-knowledge. What does it mean? Self and knowledge. Knowledge surely generally means, doesn't it, to know something, to know about something which you have experienced or lived or acquainted with. I know you because I met you yesterday. I know you because you are a friend of mine, or I know you because you are my husband or wife, to know. Therefore, to know, doesn't it mean something in the past? I know you because I met you yesterday. Or I've known you for a number of years. Knowledge is always in the past, isn't it? No?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a result from the past, but you can go with it to the future. I mean, it's a base to handle our...
Yes, sir. We'll come to that. Let's go step by step into it. I'm not saying what you say is not correct, but let's go slowly. Because unless we know semantically what the word means, to know, we'll get a bit lost. To know something. I know the road to Utrecht. I have been on it. Or I know by looking at the map, and I know. And I know my wife because I've lived with her, or my husband. So, and knowledge. What does knowledge imply? an accumulation, doesn't it? Scientific knowledge. An accumulation of many experiments, of many investigations, of many researches which have been accumulated, which have become scientific knowledge, right? No?
Well, it's one way of, one idea of knowledge. I think there's another idea. I mean, this is sort of cold knowledge, you could say. I think there's also warm knowledge.
Cold and warm knowledge. When I say I know, let's begin. I know you because I've known you for some years. I've known you have said certain things. Certain image has been established in my mind about you. I know you. With that knowledge, I approach you. Right? But you may have changed in the meantime. I haven't seen you for 10 days, and during those 10 days, you may have changed. So I really don't know you. I knew you as you were 10 days ago. Right? Actually, after 10 days, I don't know you. Whether it's warm or affectionate or cold, the actual fact is I don't know you. I knew you as you were 10 days ago. Right? I think this is important, please. Just because when we're going to discuss or talk over together self, what does that word self mean? Is it a static thing or a living thing? If it is a living thing, can I know it? I can only know something that is dead. Something that's past. Right? So when we say self-knowledge, to know oneself, there is in those two words there is great complexity, isn't there? Knowing, which is accumulating knowledge, gathering it through experience, through various forms of influences and so on. Now, what is the self? When I say I must know myself, what is myself?
Form of liberation.
Huh?
Form of liberation, non-involvement.
No, sir, little more than that, isn't it? Myself, what is myself?
I think it's the...
So, it is the past.
Huh?
It is the past.
Yes, the past. But what is the past? What is that?
I think that's the base you form in yourself by thinking about your handling. You know, I could say there are two sides in yourself: the handling person and the self-reflecting person. And I think the base you form from your childhood up.
Yes, sir.
First you're intuitively handling, you know, and then afterwards the thinking comes in, and then you try to form, well, in Dutch there's a very famous word for it. It's called geweten, you know, but
Conscience.
Oh, no, you don't know. It's a very, well,
Perhaps you'd say it in French.
I don't know.
Just the remembering of the past.
So, just a minute. Before you put it into words, let's look at it. When you say myself, when you say I must know myself, what is that?
Image.
Image?
The inner being.
What is that?
That's
Isn't it so? The accumulation of experiences you have with yourself in the past. Is that yourself?
Which is what? Memory?
The memory traces of every experience you had with reality.
Yes, sir. That is, every experience, every hurt, insult, every knowledge is all put together as memory, isn't it? Myself is memory. The self is a memory. No?
No, I don't think so.
not only maybe.
Wait,
Yourself is also by how you're sitting here. How
Wait,
you're
wait,
here,
sir,
still here.
there are wait, sir, go slowly. There are lots of things in it, just go slowly.
Isn't it the combination you have in reality now, at this moment, and in the past? You had about yourself, the memories and from the past, and the actual state of yourself in this moment. And this
Which is my
discrepancy.
myself at this moment, which is the result of previous experiences. That is, born in India, conditioned there, right, by the climate, food, tradition, family, till the speaker was there 9 years old, then brought over to Europe and conditioned there by the food, climate, and so on, education, so on, so on, so on, so on. All that is the me, right?
No.
Huh?
Not at all. Absolutely not.
Right.
Because when I should have lived through the same things as you have, I am sure that I should have experienced them differently.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely
No,
differently.
of course, I'm not saying, I'm not saying you or me.
I'm not saying that either. But I'm trying to say that one can be conditioned. All right. But why is one conditioned in a certain way?
That's a different matter, sir.
That's the same matter, I think.
No, sir, look, you were born in Holland, let's suppose. And you have been brought up in a certain environment, with certain food, Catholic, Protestant, Huguenot, whatever it is, education, newspapers, tradition, the family, and so on, so on, so on, right? And the speaker was born in India and conditioned there. Wait. So you are conditioned in one way, and I'm maybe conditioned in another way.
But not only by the circumstances.
No, I'm not saying only circumstances. Go slowly, sir. We must explore it. So each one of us is conditioned, right? Now, I must know that conditioning, right? When I say self-knowledge, knowing about myself who is conditioned. There may be states of unconditioned. And this conditioning may vary with each person. And the conditioning may be through environment, or heredity,
Or character.
or
Character.
wait, character. How does character come into being?
You ask me, how does character come into being?
Yes.
Uh,
What makes you strong, aggressive? I'm using that word politely. And me in a different way. What makes it? Gives you character.
I'm afraid that's a question I can't answer.
We'll find out, sir. We're going to find out. What we are trying to say is the self, in whatever climate, tradition, culture being society, religion, morality, and all that, art, all that, is conditioned, each human being is conditioned differently. Whether that conditioning is by external circumstances or conditioned by the society in which he lives, which has its own morality, its own values, its own ethic, which conditions it? Economic, religious, dozen things. And the character is, we are just exploring it, we're not definitely saying. Character is formed when that conditioned entity meets life, wait, un moment, go slowly, sir, go slowly, meets another conditioned entity. I meet you. You may be stronger, you may be more vital, you may be more definite, I may be vague, I may be idiotic. So, in contact with you, there is a definite reaction taking place. Right? That reaction is the nature of character.
I would ask you, could you say which age about it you're conscious of this reaction?
Yes.
Is that what you mean by character, that you're conscious of your reaction? Or, I mean, a child is also reacting on the circumstances.
So we are reacting all the time.
Yeah. But do you
Unless one is dead, paralyzed, both mentally, emotionally, physically, one is constantly, character is being formed.
Yeah, right.
Changed, formed, substituted, modified.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think when you are speaking a normal language about character, then you're speaking in a sort, conditioned thing. I mean, it's not moving. So we can change our words, of course, and talking about that, but I think you could better go out from the normal meaning of word. I mean, also self-knowledge is a thing that has a certain meaning for normal people, and of course we can spread it out.
No, yes, sir, but we're trying to find out what the self means and what knowledge means. Yes, sir.
So what has inheritance to do with it?
Oh, a great deal, hasn't it?
Yeah. Inheritance. What you have inherited from your parents.
Parents, inherited from the society.
What has that to do with yourself?
So, you think that self is different from all this?
No, it is. There's a great part in it.
There is?
Very great part in it, in yourself. What is sculptured by your race and by your parents and all what you have inherited from years and years.
That's right, sir. We are saying that. So let's proceed. Huh? You are conditioned in one way, and I am conditioned another way. And I want to know, we say to know that conditioning. Right? That is the beginning of self-knowledge, isn't it? No? Then what is?
Isn't it right to say self-knowledge is as I see myself as if I were seeing someone else, and also that myself is I as someone else would see me?
Yes, sir. Of course, naturally. First I must see myself as I am, or I see myself as you understand me. So it goes slowly. It becomes terribly complex presently. It goes slowly, sir. Here are two entities, you and the speaker. The speaker is conditioned one way, you are conditioned another way. And to know that conditioning is the beginning of self-knowledge, isn't it? Obviously.
No, not at all. Yeah, absolutely not.
What?
As I said before, you and me could have had absolutely the same experience.
I know. Yes, sir. You.
Please listen.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But by the same experience, you and me could have been conditioned absolutely differently.
Yes.
And therefore conditioning isn't the starting point, as I see it, but the reason why you and me can be conditioned.
We'll come to that,
different
sir.
way.
That's later, isn't it? First, I must know I'm conditioned.
All right.
Huh? And go beyond that if we can. And then find out what element or what catalyst that makes us conditioned, you in a different way and me in another way.
Yeah.
But first, I must be aware that I'm conditioned.
All right.
That is, I may think I see very clearly, but I may be prejudiced. I may have colored glasses, therefore I can't see very clearly. So I must first know that I have colored glasses. I must first know that my outlook is prejudiced. And I must know first the way I'm conditioned. And then see if there is any element that gives a peculiar pressure that molds you differently and me differently. Right? So, to know myself means to know the conditions, the conditioning in which I am. That's the beginning. Right? No?
When you're speaking about self-knowledge, can you tell me what is the thing or the person that experiences the self-knowledge? Is it
You
the
see
feeling of
your-
identity and not the kind of knowledge?
So you see, we can make this terribly complex, you see, right off. Which is, who is the observer that is observing and saying, I know, I don't know. But I don't want to. We'll come to it a little later, step by step. Let's go into it. Because here I am. I want to know myself. Myself, I see, is the result. A result produced by society, by a culture in which it has lived, by the food, by the climate, by the tradition, by the clothes, by the family, right? That is the me, who believes that there is a soul, that there is a God, that there is various things. And you may believe there is no God, no soul, because you believe in something else. So and so. We are conditioned. And now I say, I must know myself. Right? Now, what is the entity that can observe the conditioned state? Right? You understood my question, sir? I observe my conditioning. Who is the observer? Is the observer different from the conditioning? Huh?
That's the first step.
Huh?
Isn't that the first step?
That's the first step. I'm going to find out.
So that's the self which is operating like that.
So look, I am conditioned. And I want to analyze or understand that conditioning and break through that conditioning if possible. Right? Now, who is the entity that is observing it?
Yourself.
Huh?
Yourself.
That's myself. Who is myself? The conditioned entity. No? No?
Until that point.
No, then you can't speak about observing.
No.
I mean, when
Therefore,
you speak about
so
observing,
we do. We say, I must know myself, right? When I say I must know myself, who is the I and who is the myself?
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, when we are speaking about observing my conditioned self, then in this sentence already lays that there are two separate things.
Of course, that's just it. That's
So
what
we
we
can't better say it then. Okay.
that's quite right.
Yeah.
So there are two. We have divided in two entities, right?
Yeah,
The
that's-
observer and the thing observed.
Yes.
I said before that I see myself as if I would see someone else. And I see myself as
X.
someone else would see me.
Yeah.
With a thinking that I can think I see you, and I can think I see me, without immediately thinking in the second case that it's myself who I'm seeing.
In other words, he must objectify himself completely to see himself.
Yes.
Yes.
So I have to settle this question first. Who is the entity that's observing the conditioned state? Is the observer different from the thing observed?
Yes.
Huh?
When I'm-
Yes?
Yes.
yes, I see.
Yes. It's making a distance. I'm not living in it, I'm feeling. I'm not feeling, I'm only thinking it. It's making an idea about myself. A new idea. A new... I take a distance from myself and I'm thinking when I'm the observer.
Beg
I'm
pardon?
not in it. I'm not in it.
Who is then in it?
I'm thinking as if I was thinking about you or someone else.
I know, no, but look, No, just a minute. I want to know myself. And who is the entity, who is the observer that's going to study the conditioning? Who is going to explore, who is going to examine, who is going to unfold?
Thinking, that's another conditioning.
Huh?
Another conditioning.
It is, no, not another conditioning, it is the same conditioning, which has broken up into two, as the observer and the observed. Wait, this is, please, this is very important to understand before we go any further.
Well, I think conditioning, your conditioning is more or less put in your thinking, you know. I mean, your conditioning, are you thinking about in words that are part of your conditioning?
Ah,
I think you formed your words by your conditioning. But I think there's also another part, and it's gone very far deeper. I don't say, well, at the moment I'm taking this attitude just to try to go farther. And for instance, I could quote the writer Jung, for instance. Perhaps there's another part of us that is part of the, how it's called, the collective unconscious or something like that.
So, wait, so therefore, oh my Lord, you see, there is the conscious mind and the unconscious, right? Which is still which is still conditioned.
Well, but it's not so formed by your conditions as your conscious part, I think. Right. Is that wrong?
So, look, let's begin again, slowly. I'm conditioned by India, by Europe, by America, by the papers, and so on, so on. I'm conditioned. And that conditioned state responds to life. Life being a movement. And the response of a conditioned mind to a living thing is inadequate. And therefore there is conflict. Wait. And this conditioned state has divided itself as the conscious and the unconscious. The conscious being the whole technological acceptance of modern life, and the unconscious, I'm just putting it very briefly, and the unconscious is the collective tradition of the race, the family, of the human society. Right? I see that, and I say, now, how am I to know myself?
Well, yeah, I understand you quite well, but I still wonder if there is, I don't know how to put it in words, but I mean, I have just a feeling in myself that there is some already formed, I don't know how it came there, a sort of base, perhaps it's called in other cultures a stream of life or something like that, that still can control this conditioned person of me. I don't know, perhaps it's founded during my life, or it was already there, I don't know. But, you know.
So don't let us suppose anything. Don't let us suppose anything. Be skeptical of everything, including Freud, Jung, myself, everybody. So I'm just looking at it. I say, now here I am. I want to know myself. And to know myself, I must look, right? Now, who is looking? The conscious mind looking at the unconscious mind? The conscious mind conditioned by the modern society. Technology, computers, going to the office, the pressures, the student revolt, you follow is conditioned that way. And the unconscious is all the tradition of man. Now, who is to look at the unconditioning, at the unconscious?
Sir, it seems to me that when you say, I want to know that conditioning and I want to know that self, that you don't really want to look.
Vipan?
You don't really want to look. You're just.
No, that's a façon de parler. So when I say I want to, it means I'm eager to find out. It's not a question of verbal. It's like.
But are we?
Huh?
But are we? How eager?
She wonders how keen we are really to find
Ah, well, ça y est. That I'm afraid I can't tell you.
But then we just want to find an explanation.
No, explanation is not the discovery.
Yes.
Because, look, this is really quite an important problem because either man remains forever conditioned, therefore always a slave to the past, or it may be possible to free himself from that conditioning and actually be free.
Must I put another question therefore? I mean, you can say we are conditioned, and I think we all agree that we are conditioned.
Bene.
Next question is, I believe, that is, how is it possible that milieu, how do you say that, circumstances make such a big impression on us that we can be conditioned at all?
That's fairly simple. That's, I think, any psycho, because we are young, and the mind is very. When you are young, it's so very pliable. It's like a clay into which every impression is pouring in.
What is pliable?
What is pliable?
Yeah.
The whole brain structure. So you see, you're going off at a tangent all the time. If you don't mind, let's stick to one thing and go through it. Otherwise, we'll just waste the whole afternoon sparring with each other. You follow?
Yeah. I would ask you a question in connection with the question, who is looking?
Yes.
Well, I think
And also, who is looking at the unconscious?
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, no, sir. No.
Not at the conditioned person.
There are two questions, sir, in it. There is the question, who is the observer that is looking at the conditioned state?
Yeah, that's what
And who is looking into the unconscious, which is the past, which is the tradition, and so on. I don't know if you're meeting the question.
No, I've lost it now.
To know myself involves all this.
You said myself is the conditioning in which I am. So when my condition change, myself is changing. But if you are completely unconditioned, what's then myself?
No. We are not, we are being conditioned all the time.
So a human being is always conditioned.
That's what the communists and other people say. Human beings will always be conditioned. And so they say, let us condition him differently. Instead of being a capitalist, let's condition him to be a communist. The Catholics say, we'll condition him in Catholicism or in Protestant. or in Hinduism and so on.
But everything is conditioning.
Wait, so is it possible for human beings to break through the conditioning? Wait, don't say yes. Moment you say yes, then you're finished. Then it's a theory.
But what's your answer on this?
I'm going to tell you. You go.
Listen now.
I will.
And not interrupt you.
I'll tell you as you go along. You see, it's no good my merely saying my saying something. You must, both of us, go together. Right? Now, there are these two questions. The conditioned mind looking at its own conditioning, right? That's one question. Second question, also, and there are other questions involved in it, the conscious mind looks into the unconscious. And it interprets the unconscious according to its conditioning, right? That is, the unconscious, through dreams, through various forms of hints, intimates its state to the conscious, right? You follow? This is obvious, all this. And so what happens? When I say I must know myself, is it possible to know myself at all? Wait, don't say no, because then it becomes a theory to you.
Yes and no.
I don't, please sir, let's establish one thing. Don't let's have theories. Don't accept explanations. I want to find out. Right? And to find out you must experience, not say yes or no.
But you are always prejudiced in experience too. You are always prejudiced about this.
Of course. So we must distrust experience, authority, everything. So here I am. I want to know myself. Myself is an extraordinarily complex entity, right? Extraordinarily complex. Because myself is the past, right? The tradition, the culture, the society in which I have lived, the historical process which has brought about certain activities in society. All that I am. No? Aren't you all that? Huh? Oh no, come on, sir, of course.
What can I know about that?
Wait. You are that. You are a Catholic, Protestant, or not, or this, communist, socialist, something or other, you are. Nationalist and so on. Now, it is such a complex thing. To analyze it, you follow, sirs? This whole complex thing, to analyze it, you must have a very keen mind. Right? And to analyze, there are several things involved in analysis. When you analyze, who is the analyzer? Obviously, a conditioned mind. Examining, analyzing the conditioned state. Right? That's one point. To analyze implies also that when you analyze, there must be such scrupulous objective examination that the mind doesn't interfere with the observation. I don't know if you're following all this. After all, Jung, Freud, X, Y, Z, they have analyzed according to their background, according to their knowledge.
How can you do it, sir? Because the observer is always conditioned.
Therefore, if the observer is always conditioned and this observed is also conditioned, we follow it step by step, then there is no way out. Right?
No. May I ask?
Avanti.
Isn't it that in this moment, in this time, the conditioned man is informated about the other conditions a little bit? And it is Freud who analyzed the conditioned other people, because the conditioned other people were living in an extremely conditioned way. And therefore he contradicts this conditioned way. I think when you're analyzing your conditioning, you are only in the vermogen, you have the power to analyze it when you're informated about the other conditioning.
So, sir, look, sir, now, to be informed completely involves time, right? I mean, there might be future Jungs and Freuds who will be totally deny what old Freud said. They might have discovered something new, right? So, I can't depend on all that. I can't wait 50 or 60 years late and then say, well, I'll be informed. I have no time, I'll be dead by then. Right? So, is there a way when there is the knowledge that the analyzer is as conditioned as the analyzed, right? Is there a way out? That way there is no issue, right? That way there is no way out at all.
Well, I have the feeling at the moment there is a way out, because sometimes you just have the feeling that you know yourself a bit. That's not a moment it's not an analyzing moment or anything else. It's just there.
Yes, sir. Therefore, it may not be important at all.
Sorry?
It may not be important at all to know yourself.
No, maybe.
Wait, you see.
So may I interrupt a moment? Perhaps it should be clear when we make a division between the I and the self.
No, sir. The self, the me, the I, the ego.
I hear a discrepancy between what these people are saying. I think when you deal with the conditioned I and the unconditioned self, it should be clear.
No. There is no unconditioned self at all. There is only conditioned state.
That's the I.
That's the I, the not I, the I that says. The whole phenomena is conditioned. Right?
Yes. So on the way out.
Now, you wait, sir. First, you're too... you don't want to go step by step. Only then you will come out of it. Otherwise, it just be words. Look, sir. This person was born in India. Brought up as a Brahmin. You know what Brahmin is? Doesn't matter. Tremendously traditional. Tremendously orthodox. In a family that is super orthodox. With their beliefs, with their dogmas, with their superstitions, with their gods, how much to eat and not to eat, no sex or sex, all that. And if he lived in that closed circle, there is no way out. So how is he to get out of that conditioned state and not fall into another? Are you following all this? And to analyze that whole conditioning takes months, years. through dreams, through going to analysts or reading Freud, Jung or somebody or other. It will take months and years to break through and may not be possible at all. You're following all this? So, knowing oneself in the orthodox sense may be completely useless. Huh? After all, what is myself? My tradition, the superstition, the religion in which I have been brought up, the racial, which is all very trivial. Huh? Right? It's very trivial, childish. Whether I belong to India or don't belong to India, whether I'm a Brahmin, non-Brahmin. You follow what I mean? Catholic, not. It's too stupid. No? So wait, the unconscious may be equally stupid. Right? In spite of what the professors, the analysts say, it may be worthless. So why do I have to pay attention to that at all? I will treat it, I'll treat this whole conditioning as something extraordinary, trivial, stupid. Right? Huh? If I do, I'm out. All right? That is, I'm no longer a Hindu, I'm no longer nationalist, I'm no longer fear, I'm out. It's like seeing something very dangerous and say, I'm not going near it. Or seeing something very stupid and not touching it. Now arises the point, what makes you or me see that is stupid? Right? What makes me see that nationalism is poisonous, stupid?
So that's conditioning too. If you say that nationalism is stupid, but if you say that, that's also conditioning.
No, you didn't just. I mean, when you see a precipice, unless you are insane, you jump into it. If you see a precipice, you walk away from it. Right? That's all. When you see the danger of nationalism, I'm taking that as an example, it has no influence. So what makes a human being, please follow this little bit, see something that is dangerous?
Perhaps he is a prisoner of his own conditions.
No,
A higher self and the self.
No, that the higher self is also conditioned. You see how we try to escape from the obvious fact? I will not accept higher or lower self. Then will lead to all kinds of contradictions.
Mr. Krishnamurti, if a man gets drunk every day, he's an alcoholist. He knows that alcoholism is something dangerous.
But it goes on.
Exactly. But he still doesn't stop.
No, wait.
Isn't it the same with his conditioning?
No, sir, just a minute, go slow. You question, see what happens. I am conditioned to believe. And that separates me from you. Therefore, there is a war between us. I'm taking that. Now, how am I, who have been accustomed to believe my belief is right, yours wrong, How am I to break it? Go on, sirs. Work it out.
Every moment it can change.
Huh?
To give it up.
How?
Your own belief.
Sir, but we don't. As he pointed out just now, the alcoholist drinks, knows his danger, but he keeps on drinking. And with the same with us, we say, well, war is bad, cruel, bestial, but we are willing to kill.
But you still fear it, and as you are drunk, you fear it as well. You're afraid of it. Although you drink, you're afraid.
He said that's what he's saying, but you don't give it up.
Yeah, but if you say what makes it, if you are aware that you're afraid of it, you can say it's a wrong thing, so we have to keep it up. So it's nationalism, you say, is dangerous.
No, sir, we are saying, why doesn't a human being, when he sees something poisonous, give it up instantly?
Because he's afraid of it.
Is afraid of it?
You don't walk in a fear, or you must be insane, you say a minute before. Why? Because you're afraid of the fire, and you know the result if you walk in it.
Pleasure might be involved.
Huh?
Maybe pleasure is involved.
Maybe pleasure is as well.
Which is pleasure is fear. So you're saying, you see that you...
Self-protection?
Huh?
Is it by self-protection?
Now, sir, do examine yourself, sir. Look, be simple. Don't theorize. We are still young, thank God, so we don't have to theorize. Here I am. I realize division between people as Catholics and Protestants, Hindus, Muslims, all that is a most dangerous thing, right? Because it leads to war, it leads to antagonism, it leads to hatred. It's a most dangerous thing. And yet we go on. And we know the cause of it: self-protection, vested interest, conditioned mind, all the rest of it, security, and yet we don't give it up. So knowing the cause of something is not going to help you to be free of it, right? So what is one to do?
Can't we do as if we are living anew every day, as if everything was there? But is it possible at all?
That's, Madam, I say it is possible. Then you say, well, that's your opinion. And you're then. So we have to find out. Please, do stick to this one point. You will come to it. You will see it for yourself. Why is it that we don't give up something which we know dangerous? Some of you smoke, and you know it's very dangerous for the lungs. Lung cancer and all that. Why don't you give it up instantly?
You're enslaved.
Enslaved? Why? You see, no. No, please do look at it. Don't give an opinion.
Well, sometimes you say, I'll give it up in a year or two.
And then pick it up again.
And that doesn't work.
I know a man who gave up alcohol for 6 months, and he thought he was marvelous, and on the 7th month he was dead drunk. So so let us find out, sir, seriously, why is it that we cannot give up something which is dangerous instantly? And it must be given up instantly, right? Like seeing a precipice, you don't say, well, I'll think about it and walk into it. You just walk away from it instantly. Now, in the same way, why is it when we see something dangerous, as in anything, belief, national, and so on, anger, give it up totally immediately? Why?
Because we are afraid.
Are you?
Most of the time, most people are.
And now, leave the other people. Are you?
Yes.
Afraid of what?
You're afraid what people might think or
No,
say about you.
I mean, that what people might think is so, I mean, that's so bourgeois.
About
I
the
mean,
whole
who
society.
cares? Who cares what people think?
All of us.
You all care what people think?
Yes, a little bit or more, yes.
Most people do.
Yes.
I mean, wait. You all, some of you or most of you, little bit, care what people think, right?
Yes.
Now what does that mean?
So you behave like.
Wait, look at it, sir. Don't look at it. What does it mean? First of all, you may not get a job. Also, you want to be terribly respectable, which means fit into the society. Accept the establishment. Which means you are afraid. Right? That's why most of us say, well, I like to be popular with whatever. You follow? I'm afraid. Right? Now, you know the cause of it, right? Fear. Why don't you give it up?
How?
Wait. First, you know, fear is making you accept what people say, right? Because you might be left alone, you might not be able to marry, you might know all the reasons. So you say, by Joe, I'm afraid, therefore I care very much what people say. Huh? Right? That is, you want to be respectable. Already, when we are so young, we already want to be respectable. My God. Right. Now, can you give up fear? So to give it up, you have to find out what causes it, right? Understand it. Understand the structure of it, right? How does fear come? Take this very simple, sir, look at it. I am afraid of what you will say, right? And how does that fear come? You don't really care what about me, but I am afraid that you might say something about me. You follow? This is so obvious, isn't it? Society doesn't care two bits what happens to me, but I care very much what society does to me. I don't know if you're following all this. So, thought breeds fear, right? Right? What my friend might say is bred by thought, and I'm afraid of that, right? Can we go into this? Not verbally, but actually. So that you leave the room without a single fear.
I think, isn't it possible that you are afraid of that you not should fulfill the conditions?
Yes, sir. Afraid, fear doesn't form of fear.
Why is the mind dominating so much?
No. The mind being thought?
Yes.
Why?
If you have the answer to that.
I'm showing you, sir. Go into it. Why? Why has thought become so important?
We are used to it. The thing also leads to pleasure.
It gives you identity, it's also a means of pleasure.
It's a part of it. Why? Why has thought? Look at it. All the great writers, all the philosophers, all the people who mattered in the world have given tremendous importance to the intellect and thought, haven't they? Right? And someone comes along, what nonsense it all is, right? And you're afraid to say that loud. I said to myself, why am I afraid? What has brought fear into me? What does it matter what anybody says about anything? So I said, why am I afraid? And what causes fear? No. Yeah. Self being thought, right? Look, sir. I am afraid what you will say to me. Public opinion. You, the public opinion. I'm afraid of that. Right? What has taken place? I project what you might think about me. Right? Thought says, by Joe, be careful. You want to marry your daughter or marry that girl or go out with that girl. Therefore you must be respectable. Therefore you must care what public opinion says, and so on. So fear comes in, right? Which is thought, right? So thought breeds fear. No? So can the mind be without thought? Of course. You know, sir, please, it's a problem being put, not by me only, but by others, because the computers are taking place of man. You follow? You understand, sirs, what is happening in the world? The computer is taking the part of man. Man who has been thinking, arguing, constructing, follow? And the machine can do 10,000 times better and quicker. Right? So thought may have no place at all, though we worship thought. Right, sir?
Well, there's also thinking about you thinking.
So
Yes.
there is, for me anyhow, a state in which thought is non-existent. But when you are asked to think, you think, but otherwise empty. This. Look, sir, you've seen a drum. It's always empty. And only when you strike on it, there is a note. It will always be a right note if the tension of the skin is right, right? So can my mind, that's the real question, be so completely empty, and yet at the right tension, so that when it is asked, it responds, and otherwise it's silent. Listen.
You always asked a response, but there is no response, isn't it?
Of course, sir, unless I'm dead, there must be a response.
No, but we have to respond. But if we understand you, then we have nothing to say, isn't it?
That's right, sir. No, but this is this requires tremendous awareness of the whole process of it. Because as the gentleman just now said, we have been brought up to worship the intellect, right? Which is thought. And I don't give 2 pins for thought. It doesn't mean a thing, because the machine does it much better than any person can. Yes, sir?
Is it not so that earlier, before, we had to think to exist, simply for that?
What?
That we are used to think to
What?
survive?
I don't quite understand, sir.
When we were animals, or like animals, and we developed to be a human being, we had to think all the time to survive. And so we are used to thinking.
No, sir, animals also think.
To survive, I think so, yes.
Whatever called thinking is. No, let's leave the animal. Here it is. Thought is old, obviously, right? No? Thought being the response of memory, memory being experience, knowledge, and it's old, it's the past. And so thought meets life, which is a living thing, right? Which is a moving thing. And so there is a contradiction between thought and the living thing, the dead thing and the living thing. You know, sir, to see anything new, to see that microphone totally differently in a new way, the mind must be quiet, mustn't it?
But how can you make the mind quiet?
You can't make the mind quiet.
So what are you to do?
No, madam. The moment you say how to do it, who is the maker? The I, which is conditioned. Therefore you're... So don't say how it is to be achieved. Just see the fact.
Sir, how comes it that we see the microphone new when we are quiet and our mind is quiet?
Huh?
How comes it that we see
The microphone is a dead thing. Now wait a minute. Begin first, please, if I may suggest most respectfully. Look at a leaf, look at a flower. Look at it very quietly, with a quiet mind, not a chattering mind, and see what happens.
Flower and I are one thing?
Huh?
Flower and I are one thing?
No, begin with that, I said.
No, he's asking if the flower and he are the same then.
No. I mean, that's it. I mean, I look at a tree, and if I look without the interference of a chattering mind, am I the tree? I hope not. Huh? I would become cuckoo. No. I understand, sir. I was only joking. So first of all, sir, can I look at anything, at my wife or my girlfriend or my boyfriend or the tree or anything, can I look without any image? Do try it. Do it.
Yes, okay.
And see how extraordinarily difficult it is. Difficult because, first of all, we are accustomed to look at everything with an image. The tree, my wife, my husband, my children, my God, my king, everything with an image. And to be free of that image and look. Which means, that means real freedom, isn't it? To look at everything without an image. Huh? That's the only freedom.
do we see then?
Huh?
What do we see then? What do we see then?
What do we see then? There's no answer. Do it. It's like sitting down here and say, what happens if what lies beyond that hill? Climb it and see it. And we don't, you see, there is again. Intellect is an operation. You don't want to do it and find out. We say, well, please tell me about it. That's one of the tricks of the intellect. And so the intellect is essentially lazy.
Please be a prophet.
Sir, I have tried it several times, but I'm always conditioned.
No, Madam, I'm just suggesting, look at a flower. Begin with that, to look at it without any image.
But if you see a flower, then the name of the flower comes...
So see the difficulty, how you're conditioned.
Yeah.
So,
I see the
now,
condition.
wait a minute, then become aware of it.
Yes,
Not but, go on. That is, then when you are aware of it, you become very tremendously attentive, don't you?
I think I don't see anything when I have no image and when there's no thought of it.
Madam, you haven't tried.
Oh yes, I've tried.
Yes, I've tried.
Did not.
Then you, sir, begin the other way around. What is it to be attentive? Do you know what it means to attend? To give your attention? At present you are not giving your attention. No, you're not.
Be empty.
No. To give attention means to attend with your nerves, with your body, with your heart, with your ears. Give complete attention.
Not with your intellect.
Huh?
Not with your intellect.
Beg pardon?
Not with your intellect.
No, madam. You see, you don't do it. You're theorizing about it. Look, sir, don't you give complete attention when there is danger coming to you? No?
Maybe I'm paralyzed.
No. When there's sudden danger, you give complete attention at that moment.
So completely that maybe I am paralyzed.
You see, you are again a theory. You don't. If you did it, you wouldn't theorize about it.
But are you going all the way when you don't know where you're going to?
You go all the way, sir, even though you don't know where you're going to.
But are you going when you don't know?
Yes, you are. Then only you go. If you know where you are going, it's finished.
But I don't step on a train when I don't know where it's going.
Then you catch the next train. No, that's...
Did you mean when you're observing, or not observing, when you're with a flower together, and when you're in a specialized way, far most conditioned, that you see the flower in one special way?
Sir,
Right.
Look at that tree. Huh? There it is, that poplar. Look at it as though nothing existed but that.
At this moment?
At this moment. Look at it without thought, without knowledge, without where you are. Absolutely give complete attention to it.
That costs much time.
You see how your way...
Yes, that is conditioning. I realize I'm from this culture, and that costs time when all those aspects are looking for that.
But sir, which means you're not looking at that plant, at that tree. Yeah. And I said, no, then don't look. Don't pretend to look. They say, well, I'm looking at my own image, which is the tree. Therefore, you're not looking. So, in the same, follow it, in the same way, when I look at my wife, I'm not looking at her. Therefore, I have no relationship with her. Except in bed. Therefore, if I am not related to any human being, I'm living in isolation. Right? In the isolation created by the image which I have. Therefore, life becomes a frightful conflict. So,
Sir, when one is struck by something beautiful, sometimes the mind ceases to think and one ceases to feel.
yes.
At the moment is very much aware of something.
Yes, sir.
And at that moment is very happy.
Yes. There, look at that question. That is, there's something very beautiful. The beauty of it paralyzes me, stops me from thinking. It absorbs me, but gradually I come back to myself. What has happened is, the thing which I saw is so great, it makes me silent. So, I depend on the greatness of that to make me quiet. Right? So it is not real quietness. It is an influence which is making me quiet. Right? It's like taking a pill and being quiet. A tranquilizer, and everything is marvelous. So the question is, can I look at that tree with such complete quietness of the mind, so that I have a direct relationship to that? And therefore, direct relationship with human beings. Not through words, follow? Then perhaps we can live a different way of life. And I'm no longer a communist and you are no longer a capitalist. Right? We better stop, don't you? Yes, sir. We'll meet you again when, sir?
Thursday at 6.
Thursday at 6. That's day after tomorrow? No, that's, yeah.